back, ladies and gentlemen. By the way, I've got to get a better handle on all my affiliates. They told me earlier this week we had 2 new affiliates for the Sunday show. One is in Miami, and the other in Washington State, and I just totally forgot to keep that piece of paper and plug them, but I'll be sure and do it next week. A lot of new stations picking up the weekday show, a lot of new stations picking up the Sunday broadcast. We're very, very thankful for that. Your calls are coming up at 877-590-5525, 877-590-5525. We'll get you up and on the air. All right, here are my stacks of news. EPA takes first step towards climate change regs. Translate that into hundreds of taxes on every facet of your life, and they admit that deeper in the article. But still, you tell the public, these are taxes, and they go, really? And then you find out it's all a complete and total fraud. Now that it's been proven the Earth just started cooling the last 2 years, since the sun cooled off, goes through a 12-year cycle. So now they're saying, oh, climate change. Pretty soon they'll go, Mommy, Grandpa says that there used to be something called seasons, and it got hot and cold. No, honey, he's a conspiracy theorist. Grandpa's with Al-Qaeda. That's why they took him away for re-education. Good, Grandma. I heard people that claim that we used to have seasons were evil. By the way, they now admit they're chemtrailing us. The White House has come out and said, oh, yeah, we're doing tests spraying the atmosphere to save you from global warming. Folks, they've been doing it since 1996. The guy won a Nobel Prize for it in 92. Said they'd mix chemicals with jet fuel, perfect compartmentalization, spray the atmosphere. And they're doing it. And now AP last week, oh, yeah, we're going to spray you. We're going to terraform the planet. Mommy, Grandpa says there used to be seasons on the planet. Honey, don't listen to Grandpa. He's a terrorist. That's why the men in black uniforms took him away. There really wasn't seasons once? Mommy, Grandpa's a liar? Yes, he's a liar. Now drink your mercury shake. Mommy, kids didn't used to have to be in wheelchairs. They used to be able to walk. 'Cause, Mommy, I'm 19 and I can hardly talk. No, geniuses like you have always had a 76 IQ. Mommy, can I have more mercury? Yes, honey. Oh, I can't handle it anymore, ladies and gentlemen. EPA takes first step towards climate change. Again, we've got another report here. New pollution limits seen for cars and big plants. Now, they're going to make you have a hybrid. They keep lying on the news going, this car goes 200 miles an hour on 1 gallon of gas. And then they try to do a test and the thing goes 5 miles and breaks down. It's a complete lie. Oh, my goodness. But that, regardless, they keep mixing in their land-grabbing agenda and their taxes on every, form of carbon dioxide that plants breathe. They keep mixing that in with new energy and new technologies and all these good things. All it is taxes. So we'll be going over that. And, of course, you will be paying your taxes to the private IMF and World Bank. I've been telling you that for over a decade, but now it's big news as they unveil it and announce the new global currency already being issued bank to bank. They're already moving away from the dollar. That's why the Wall Street Journal had an article on Wednesday about China, Japan, Russia, Europe move away from dollar reserves. Massive dumping of the dollar the last few months as they move into the new SDRs being issued by the IMF and World Bank. That's bank-to-bank lending. It's digital money. Less than 1% of global, quote, money or liquidity is actual paper. So we'll be getting more into that after I take calls in the next segment. I'll take a lot of calls today. Also, I saw this story in the New York Times. FBI and states vastly expand DNA databases. And the New York Times says it's a 17-fold increase on the amount of DNA they're going to be taking each year. And if you read the new regs, it's not a law, the new regs, just like England adopted this about 5 years ago, so did Europe proper. It says when you're detained, and detained is when the cops turn the lights on their cars, they're going to take the tissue swab out of your cheek, Those are some of the largest cells in the body, easily scraped off without bleeding. And they're going to put it in a DNA database. Guilty until proven innocent. Now, this can all sound fine and dandy. The problem here is it violates the Fourth Amendment. Against unreasonable search and seizure, there has to be a probable cause with oath or affirmation. Particular place, persons to be searched. And then, of course, you have Dr. Frederick Whitehurst, head of the FBI crime lab back in 1996, who quit, saying they basically framed everybody. Every major city I've seen, just here in Texas, Houston Crime Lab, San Antonio Crime Lab, Dallas Crime Lab, Tulia Crime Lab, and all over the country. Google the name of your town or city and the crime lab fraud, and they've pretty much all been caught. I've never Googled a city that hadn't. And they just frame whoever they want. It's just an assembly line of lies. Remember a couple of years ago, Houston Chronicle headline about thousands framed by the city? Or Dallas just pulls you over and they throw a bag of chalk in your car and say it's cocaine, and they take your car and your house, but then they don't even charge you. They just say asset forfeiture seizure. Totally illegal, but they just do it. And no judge, no jury. I mean, this government is totally criminal. And so where do they take the DNA? Well, they take it to Cold Springs Harbor in New York, and that's where the Eugenics Society was funded by the Rockefellers. It became law to sterilize women and to kill their babies if they happened to be born after birth, before they could be aborted. They didn't legalize abortion in 73 like you heard with Roe v. Wade. If the family courts that weren't real courts, they didn't have juries or anything, they just grab you and sterilize you, you might want to research that. They would, but that's where they send your blood. It's now known as the Human Genome Project, but you heard about Dr. Watson last year saying blacks weren't humans, and then as a Nobel Prize winner, he discovered DNA helix. He was there in the 40s, back when it was openly the Eugenics Society, and he was the head of it up until a year ago when he was saying blacks weren't humans. That's the Human Genome Project. And see, let me give you a little news flash. If you're under 36 years of age, this doesn't matter. Because, see, they're talking about how when they pull you over, they're going to take your DNA now because you're, quote, a detainee. 36 and under, they already took it and put it in the Cold Springs Harbor. University of Texas, though, there's only 4 institutions that hold it. And for a multi-state, 6-state area, I kept telling folks about this for the last decade, and now it was in the Austin American-Statesman, Dallas Morning News, but they said it was a good thing. They finally announced it to the slaves. They said, in fact, one day they were doing news here in the station I do the syndicated show out of, News Radio 590 KLBJ, and I walked out and heard Sarah Hudeberg doing on the news, and I said, you're announcing that they take blood without asking at birth and put it in a DNA database for studying people's DNA and she goes, here's the Statesman. She just handed me the Statesman. I went, oh. But anyways, oh yeah, they're going to take your blood at checkpoints. They already take your blood, slaves. And you know what they're making with it? Race-specific bioweapons to tailor to where they can kill people individually according to their DNA. Read the PNAC document, September 2000, Rebuilding America's Defenses, talks about race-specific bioweapons. We'll come back, take your calls after the news. Stay with me, fellow slaves.